Chapter 3 on the curse on the river Ganga. The rishis said, O sinless Suta, you have described to us in detail the birth of Vyasa of unrivaled fire and of Satyavati. However, we still have one great doubt in our minds, which has not been removed by your words. O knower of Dharma, first, regarding the mother of Vyasa, the all-auspicious Satyavati, we have this doubt. How did she come to be united with the virtuous King Shantanu? King Shantanu of the Puru dynasty was a greatly religious man. How could he have married Satyavati, knowing her to be a fisherman's daughter and born of a low family? Now tell us, who was the first wife of Shantanu, and how did Bhishma, the intelligent son of Shantanu, come to be born as a part of Vasu? O Suta, you previously mentioned that Bhishma of indomitable valor made Satyavati's son, the brave Chitrangda, king, and upon his death, installed his younger brother Vichitravirya as king. But when the elder brother Bhishma, who was greatly religious and exceedingly noble, was present, how was it that Chitrangda and Vichitravirya, having been installed by Bhishma himself, were allowed to reign? Again, upon the demise of Vichitravirya, Satyavati became deeply grieved and had two sons born to her sons' widows by Vedavyasa. How can we explain this? Why did she do this? Why did she not hand the kingdom over to Bhishma? Why did Bhishma not marry? And how was it that Vyasadeva, the elder brother of indomitable valor, committed such an irreligious act as to beget two Goloka sons from the widows of his brothers? Vyasa, who composed the Puranas and knew everything about religion, why then did he go to another's wives, especially the widows of his brothers? O Suta, why did Vyasadeva commit such a sinful act, despite being a Muni? The righteousness of the Vedas is inferred from their subsequent good conduct. How then can this act of Vyasa be justified as one among them? O intelligent one, you are a disciple of Vyasa. Therefore, you are the best person to resolve our doubts. We gathered here in this Dharmakshetra of Namishranya are very eager to hear your explanation. At this, Suta said, in ancient times, there reigned a king named Mahabhisha of the Ikshvaku dynasty, endowed with all the qualities of a great ruler. He was the foremost among kings, truthful, and highly religious. That highly intelligent king performed 1,000 Ashwamedha sacrifices, horse sacrifices, and 100 Vajpaya sacrifices, thereby satisfying Indra, the king of the Devas, and ascended to the heavens. Once, on an occasion, that king went to the abode of Brahma. The other gods also went there to serve Prajapati. The great river, Ganga Devi, too, assuming a feminine form, went to Brahma to serve him. In the meantime, violent winds arose, and the clothing of Ganga Devi was blown away. Upon witnessing this, the Devas averted their gaze, keeping their faces turned downward. However, King Mahabhisha continued to gaze at her. Ganga also noticed the king and realized that he had become attached to her. Brahma, seeing that both of them were love-stricken and shameless, became angry and immediately cursed them. O king, you shall take birth again in the human world. Perform great meritorious deeds, and upon completion you may return to this heaven. Thus saying, Brahma turned to Ganga, who was attached to the king, and addressed her. You too shall go to the human world and become his wife. Both the king and Ganga left Brahma's abode, deeply grieved in their hearts. King Mahabhisha thought about his upcoming birth in the human world, contemplated the lineage of kings, and ultimately decided to be born as the son of King Pratipa of the Puru dynasty. At this time, the 8 Vasus along with their wives were wandering about, enjoying themselves as they pleased. Eventually, they arrived at the hermitage of Vasistha. Among these 8 Vasus, Prithu and others, one Vasu, Dyau, had a wife who, upon seeing Nandini, the sacrificial cow, Kamdhenu, of Vasistha, asked her husband, "Whose is this excellent cow that I see?" Vasu replied, "O beautiful one, this is the cow of Vasistha. Whoever, man or woman, drinks her milk will have their lifespan extended to 10,000 years, and their youth will never fade." Hearing this, Vasu's wife said, "There is a very beautiful companion Sakhi, of mine, the daughter of Rajarsi Ushinisha, a woman of auspicious qualities. O highly fortunate one, please bring me from Vasishtha's hermitage that auspicious sacrificial milk cow, Nandini, together with her calf, which grants all desires. My Sakhi will then drink her milk, and thereby be freed from disease and old age, becoming the most exceptional woman among all mankind. Hearing his wife's words, Vasudhyau, though sinless, stole the cow Nandini, along with Prithu and the other Vasus, in utter defiance of the self-controlled Muni Vasishtha. When Nandini had been stolen, the great ascetic Vasishtha returned quickly to his hermitage, carrying an abundance of fruits. Upon reaching his hermitage, Muni Vasishtha, not finding his cow and her calf, searched for them in many forests and caves. However, he, the son of Varuna, could not find his cow even after prolonged searching. Finally, he took recourse to meditation and discovered that the Vasus had stolen the cow. This realization filled him with great anger. He declared, "Since the Vasus have stolen my cow in utter defiance of me, they must be born among men." When Vasishtha, the son of Varuna, thus cursed the Vasus, they became deeply sorrowful and bewildered. All of them hurried to Vasishtha's hermitage, where they saw him and began to supplicate him with utmost humility, taking refuge at his feet. Seeing the Vasus standing before him in such a distressed state, the virtuous Muni Vasishtha said, "You all will be freed from the curse within 1 year. However, Vasudhyau will dwell among men for a long, long period, as he was the one who directly stole my Nandini along with her calf." As the Vasus, thus cursed, were returning, they encountered the chief river, Ganga Devi, who was also cursed and therefore distressed. All of them bowed down to her simultaneously and said, "O Devi, a grave concern troubles our minds. How can we, who live on nectar, take birth in human wombs? O best of rivers, you should become a woman and give birth to us. O sinless one, you should become the wife of the sage king Shantanu. And no sooner are we born from your womb, kindly throw us into the waters of the Ganga, your own form. If you do this, O Ganga, we will certainly be freed from our curse." Ganga Devi replied, "Very well, it shall be so." Having spoken thus, the Vasus returned to their respective places. Meanwhile, Ganga Devi, reflecting upon the matter again and again, left the place. At this time, Mahabhisha was born as the son of King Pratipa and became known as Shantanu. He was exceedingly religious and unwavering in his promises. One day, while King Pratipa was offering prayers to Surya Deva, the sun god, whose energy is unequaled, Ganga Devi assumed an extraordinarily beautiful feminine form, emerged from the waters, and gracefully sat on the king's right thigh, which resembled a sal tree in strength and beauty. The sage King Pratipa spoke to the lady sitting on his right thigh. "O beautiful-faced one, why have you sat on my auspicious right thigh without being asked?" The lovely Ganga then replied, "Hear why I have sat here. O best of the Kurus, O king, becoming attached to you, I have seated myself on your thigh. So please accept me." At this, King Pratipa spoke to the beautiful lady, full of youth and beauty. "I never approach another's wife merely out of passion. There is another point. You have sat on my right thigh, that is the seat of sons and sons' wives. Therefore, when my desired son is born, you shall become his wife. And certainly, by your goodwill, my son will be born." The lady of divine form said, "Well, that will be done," and went away. The king returned to his palace, thinking of the lady. After some time he had a son. When the son attained his youth, the king wished to retire to the forest and communicated this decision to his son. He also instructed him, "If the aforementioned beautifully smiling girl comes to you for marriage, then marry her. And I also order you, do not question her about who she is or where she comes from. If you accept her as your legal wife, you will certainly be happy." Thus instructing his son, King Pratipa handed over his kingdom to him and gladly retired into the forest. The king practiced tapasya in the forest and worshipped Ambika. Upon quitting his mortal coil, he ascended to the heavens by his sheer merit. The highly energetic King Shantanu, upon receiving the kingdom, began administering justice according to the laws of dharma and governed his subjects wisely. Thus ends the third chapter of the second book on the description of the curse on Ganga, Mahabhisha, and the Vasus in the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam, consisting of 18,000 verses.